It's developing tonight. Fort Smith police say someone fired shots during an apparent robbery at MLK Park on the north side of town. This video 5 News got at the scene near North Greenwood. Police had streets blocked off while investigating what they're calling an aggravated robbery. At this time, police say no one has been hurt and no one has been arrested.
We're out by the basketball court. No one's claiming an injury. We're dispatching. No one has been hit. 10-4.
Police ask if you know anything or saw anything about this to please call Fort Smith Police immediately. Also developing tonight, an anonymous threat forced Washington Regional Medical Center in Fayetteville to be put on lockdown tonight. Fayetteville Police Sergeant Stephen Mock says someone called the hospital and made some kind of threat but didn't tell us what that threat was. Off-duty officers were at the hospital and more police then responded. Hospital was placed on lockdown out of caution. Police say no credible threat has been found. The Poteau Fire Department is making a major change, moving from a mostly volunteer force to now a full-time station. It's a shift that could mean faster response times and more support for EMS. 5 News reporter Lauren Spencer shows us how the department will make this change happen.
It's a big step for a department that's long relied on paid-on-call and volunteer firefighters. Poteau Fire is making the move to a full-time department.
It's become more difficult for employers to allow people to leave work, so it's become a little bit more difficult to recruit and retain.
Chief John Ford says the department plans to make Station 1 full-time by January 2027 with 12 full-time firefighters.
We'll also maintain what we currently have with roughly about 24 to 25.
They're also adding a new role, responding to medical calls.
We're estimating with LaFleur County EMS that we'll run about 2,000 medical calls a year.
There's a few things they have to do first, starting with expanding the station for living quarters.
We'll also have to outfit one of the trucks to respond for medical calls, and then start working with our personnel who are going to be interested in the full-time position to get the necessary training.
Along with faster response times, the change will also allow them to do other things besides just putting out fires.
We'll be able to do more outreach with schools, nursing home facilities, things like that, your high-risk areas.
And for homeowners, that upgrade could pay off. Ford says the department's insurance rating will move to a Class 3, which could mean lower insurance rates.
We've got a close-knit group of guys, and I think that this will make us even closer. And I think that what we're going to be able to do for the community, we're pretty excited about it.
In Poteau, covering news where you live, Lauren Spencer, 5 News.
Chief says the department will apply for SAFER grants, and that stands for Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response. Federal program provides funding to help fire departments like Poteau's hire and then train more frontline firefighters. Meanwhile, we learned a woman from Russellville has died in a head-on collision early this morning in Johnson County. This happened on Highway 64 near Knoxville. The accident report says a Jeep was traveling east when it crossed the center line and struck a car traveling west. Mary Mikan died after the collision. The driver of the Jeep was taken to a hospital. A jury trial has been set for a 72-year-old woman accused of racing her grandson on a highway in Logan County that ended in a crash, killing 2 people. Martha Phillips is accused of buying her grandson a sports car in Missouri and then racing him down Highway 109. Ian Phillips was allegedly driving 150 miles per hour before rear-ending 2 sisters from Scranton and then pushing them across the median into the path of an oncoming 18-wheeler. Martha Phillips' trial for 2 counts of manslaughter is set for June 15th of next year. Ian Phillips is being charged as an adult for 2 counts of second-degree murder. U.S. Department of Agriculture now canceling its long-running report that tracks hunger across the country. That organization announced in September it would stop producing its household food security report after it releases the final one this October 22nd. That report often ranked Arkansas among the hungriest states. Right now, the USDA says Arkansas is the most food insecure state in America. Local food pantries like Feed 479 work to help families facing food insecurity and say this issue is only growing.
We've seen a large uptick in the number of people that are needing food, seeking food, trying to find a way to bridge the gap between their need and providing for their families. So we're continuing to see an increase.
The free pantry is designed to feel like a grocery store where families can select foods that fit their unique needs. Meanwhile, the Northwest Arkansas Food Bank announcing a leadership change today. Current president and CEO Kent Eikenberry will move into a consulting role and ultimately retire next year. He was the leader of the food bank since 2016. Taylor Spiegel will take over the top role starting January 1. He serves right now as the vice president and chief strategy officer. Around Arkansas, Attorney General Tim Griffin has now launched his One Pill Can Kill initiative at a private college. It arrived at Central Baptist today. The program teaches students how to spot an opioid overdose and use naloxone to save a life. Griffin says it is vital knowledge that could help a friend, a family member, even a stranger. The campaign is funded by opioid settlement money and will expand to even more Arkansas campuses as the year continues. We're learning more about the group behind the 10 Commandments displays now required at the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville. Posters donation was made by an organization called Counteract USA out of Taneytown. Counteract USA's website lists its founder as Abigail DeJarnett, a former U of A student who was vice president of the university's Turning Point USA chapter. Arkansas Act 573 forces the University of Arkansas to display the 10 Commandments in its classrooms now that they've received the donation of posters. U of A donation could be a precursor for other universities in this area.
Organizations that like Turning Point or Counteract, who are active on other campuses, are following model legislation that they're trying to replicate at other campuses.
About 500 posters were given to the university. They will be displayed in classrooms and buildings across campus, but it's not yet known when they will be going up. The 20 remaining living Israeli hostages reunited with loved ones today as part of the terms of that peace agreement between Israel and Hamas. President Trump spent today in Israel and in Egypt to mark what he's calling the dawn of a new Middle East. Erica Brown has the story.
Emotional reunions filled with tears, excitement, and relief as the released Israeli hostages embrace their families after more than 2 years in Hamas captivity. President Trump, who helped broker the peace plan, addressed Israel's parliament Monday, receiving a standing ovation, and called the moment the historic dawn of a new Middle East.
This is not only the end of a war, this is the end of an age of terror and death and the beginning of the age of faith and hope and of God.
As part of the deal, nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners were returned to the West Bank and Gaza, greeted by crowds of supporters. Later in the day, a convoy carrying the remains of 4 Israeli hostages who died in Hamas captivity made its way to Israel. Israeli officials await the return of the remains of 24 more deceased hostages as part of the terms of the agreement. With the first phase of the peace deal now in effect, humanitarian aid is now arriving into Gaza, loaded with food and other critical supplies to help address the devastation UN aid workers have described as a famine. The president wrapped his one-day trip to the Middle East with a ceremonial signing of the deal.
And for the people of Gaza, the focus now must be on restoring the basics of a good life. We're going to have a lot of money coming into Gaza and a lot of rebuilding.
Other major hurdles ahead include who will govern Gaza and disarming Hamas. But today, many are celebrating reunions with loved ones and the step toward peace. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
A new security force made up of troops from other nations is to be established for Gaza, but it is not known which countries will send forces or how they are going to be used.